Welcome back. Most African countries are recognizing the critical role that the private sector can play to help the continent reach its full economic and social potential. Young entrepreneurs and innovators are among the key drivers in today's private sector. Dr. Mima Nedelcovych is President and CEO of the Initiative for Global Development, an organization that harnesses the power of the private sector for inclusive growth and poverty alleviation in Africa. Dr. Nedelcovych, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Linord.
So there are several reports out there that say that the growth of Africa's private sector today is really driving Africa's economy. What is your take on this?
It is absolutely correct. It is exactly what is happening on the continent right now. We're seeing, as you mentioned, IGD is a network of African business leaders. We, as African business, have seen a lot of maturity in the last 10 to 15 years in the sector. If you look at the growth in the continent, 6, 7 of the top world's fastest growing economies, it's not only driven by natural resources, it's also being driven by the growth of the African-born and bred businesses. And that really is what we as IGD really focus on.
So when you mentioned maturity, where were we 10 years ago and what have we matured into today?
What you had back in 80s and 90s is an awful lot of trade and commerce in Africa. There was always the private sector, but it was transactional. The political stability was not there for people to be willing to reinvest, particularly local companies. What we've seen last 15 years and increasing, it's a real fast ramp up, the last 5 years, is that the African businesses born, started by African entrepreneurs, are reinvesting themselves back in country. You're seeing African diaspora coming back, and the young Africans coming back are not necessarily looking for the government jobs. They're looking to start businesses, enter companies, and grow them. That's where all the growth is. That's what's creating the jobs.
And we see a lot of young entrepreneurs today. Innovations and new technologies are really part of the process here. What can you tell? Are we getting closer to a point where it will become a must for businesses to incorporate innovation into the company's culture, maybe?
Absolutely. Absolutely, because as businesses, whether they're multinationals or African-born and expanded, are really looking at one market. There's one worldwide market. We have to be competitive. We have to stop this business of protected markets. So the growth and the scalability of business all calls back to the requirement to be innovative, take the best possible approaches, utilize the advantages in some sense of being the last to develop. The laggards, the advantage of the laggard is you learn from the other's mistakes. This is what leapfrogging technology is all about. We've learned from others. We come in, we're not born by the weight of past infrastructure. Why has Cellcom and the mobile telephone and telephone applications work so hard? We never had the landlines. Can the same thing happen in power, where we're going to source of use, power production? Why not?
So what sectors would you say are really driving the private sector?
What's driving? Definitely infrastructure. Basically, if you look at where you have the problems, solution to the problems is what's driving the sectors. Okay. So resolving power deficiencies, creating power opportunities are the growth opportunities. Coming in on agriculture and agro-industry. It's not just agriculture in Africa has to become a business. I mean, it's been stated by so many people, including the new president of African Development Bank. Agriculture is a business. This is where you're going to have the employment creation. We have to have the young people want to come back to agriculture because it's really agribusiness. It's value addition to the products. It's not just scratching dirt and creating products on a subsistence basis. It's adding value. And the big change is the size of the market. African market is doubling. We'll be reaching 2 billion. It's 50% urban. Those people are all consumers now. And that is what's driving it.
Okay. We have to leave it there, Dr. Nedelcovych. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you very much.
And that was Dr. Mima Nedelcovych. He is the President and CEO of the Initiative for Global Development.